Well, after a little bit of technology woes, we are live with special guest for episode number 7. Yes, the thumbnail's wrong because I realized when I went to do it, it says 6. I'll have to fix that afterwards.
Yeah, it's all
But,
good.
it happens. I use the same, layout, and then I just change the number for the person.
Mm-hmm.
And, ours got postponed, and I thought I had it at the right number, but then other things happened. And so I'll fix it later. It's no big deal.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
thanks for joining me. Thanks for understanding. We got delayed a few weeks.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I know things happen. Like I said, even then, it was like, even for me, I don't remember what happened, but I was like, oh, thank God. He said something popped up because it was the same day for me too. Like something had happened where it was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. I think I was in Chicago or something. I don't remember what happened,
I
but I
know
don't know
you
if
had
I was
some
in
family
Chicago.
stuff going on
Yeah, and then
right around that
you
time.
said somebody got sick, or right?
I was sick, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, we're here now, man. We made it happen, so we're
you
all
got
good.
everything secured now.
Yeah, everything's
I was
straight.
like, how did that happen? I was like, you had two-factor authentication. You
Actually,
had.
wait, no, I'm not gonna lie. I said I had everything secured. Not everything secured, so I still don't have access to any of my Instagram accounts. Any of them, they're all locked. Um, Facebook doesn't want to unblock me. I keep telling them that I got hacked, and they're like, "Nah, we're just gonna permanently ban your account." I'm like, "Okay, cool, appreciate that." Even after all the appeals and me sending my ID, I'm like, "How can you not see the clear evidence that my account got hacked?" And then Facebook barely has support to begin with, so it's all just bots, automated people. So yeah, I'm just I'm kind of screwed right now. But it just really hurt for Facebook, especially because I got all my family on there, all my pictures. I got Facebook Messenger. I message everybody on Facebook Messenger, and I got all my past messages on there. So like, I don't really care that much about Instagram and all that, which also included my tech Instagram. But it's just like Facebook, and especially Facebook Messenger hurt. I'm still trying to appeal it, and they're not going.
Yeah, I need to go in and see if I can change the. Because, my. My Instagrams are just linked. Like, I sign in through Facebook and then link
Hmm.
everything so that way you post and you can have it post on both. I
Yeah.
need to go in and change that and see if I can just set it up for straight up email because if I ever got had something with Facebook, I'm locked out of everything then
Hmm.
essentially.
Yeah. And
That's the
like,
problem with that. Same thing with if you use Google to sign in everything. If somebody gets access to your Google and they can just go reset all your accounts, even if you have two-factor authentication on, they can get the PIN sent to their email.
hmm,
Unless you specify it has to text you, but even then it gets kind of wild and crazy. And there's that
and you
the
can
whole
still get
SIM
SIM swapped.
hijacking and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
You can
Which
still get SIM swapped, which it's not as common anymore. But yeah. And also Instagram that got that thing where I don't know if you know about that, but like if you sign into one Instagram account, it signs in all your Instagram accounts. You can link more than one when you sign into one Instagram account. That's how I had it set up because so smart of me.
I have
And
all
then
mine separate,
yeah.
and then I did the I used to have actually I used to have the same email address for my YouTube channel as my email me at this, and then I was told, "Hey, don't do that." So I immediately went and changed set up a separate email address for companies to email me at and my one that's public in my bio and everything because I was told that's the way
Hmm.
they get you is they see your and I don't know how they're getting passwords though because how are you gonna guess
Yeah.
my password? It has nothing to do. You would literally have to know so much more about me, my family, my sibling, complexity
Hmm.
out there to figure it out how they even
Yeah. It's like
public Wi-Fi maybe that would be the
well,
only thing I could think of is if you signed into something and they spoofed a public Wi-Fi in some house. Like,
This is the first time I signed a public Wi-Fi, and I don't know how long in my library right now. Like I just told you, and the thing is, bro, I think they had to have hacked my computer and maybe got it through like because I used the Google autofill sign-in thing. They probably got it through there somehow. Like they hacked it through my computer, went to Chrome and things like that. But my question is, how did they get? Because when I found out they hacked my YouTube account, I saw my emails. And here's the thing. Let me point this out real quick. So I knew it was that they hacked it through my computer because I was signed out of every other device but the computer that um that I suspected that I was hacked on. Like I could still sign to my YouTube account and everything. That wasn't logged out. It was just every single other device except for that one computer um, got signed out. And yeah, I looked at my email and I saw that they got through my account by, when you got two-step verification on, and then they give you a backup code you could use if you lose your number or whatever. Yeah, they used that somehow. It said it was my password was reset or is logged in through that backup code. So I'm like, how they got the backup code? Because I don't got it in my notes or nothing. I got it physically written down in my drawer. So how did you figure that out? How did they get there? I don't know how they did. And the crazy thing is, when you even I was gonna say years ago, but it still happens. I would see all these like YouTubers getting hacked and all these horror stories. Shit, Digital Slang got hacked, and it took him how long to get his YouTube channel back? And I was just like, I don't want to be a victim of that. So I safeguarded myself years ago, or at least I thought I safeguarded myself. Two-factor authentication on all my accounts, personal, business, YouTube, all that, and it still got hacked. So I was like, that's cool.
I need to go do a full password sweep. I got that. I get
Mm-hmm.
well, my iPhone's like, you have all these passwords that you haven't changed in a while, or these ones are too
Yeah.
similar, so you need to change. I was like, I don't know if I want to go in and change like 500 passwords
Yeah.
though,
And
and set
then
them up to what? And then like, do I just set them up like, and then
and
only
then
sign into certain websites like on my iPhone because it's memorized them and it's secured on there, and then if I ever go to use it on a PC, I can pull it up and look up through the password manager on there and do it. But like that is insane the
yeah.
the number of passwords you don't realize you have until something like that happens. And
Mm-hmm.
even
And
like
then
the physical like YubiKeys or things like that, it's like, but still people get hacked with that. Like, how is that
mm-hmm.
possible? If you have to have a hardware, because that's like
They
somebody
gotta
had to like
break in
cut
your
off your
house to
thumb or
get it.
something.
It's
Like
like, theoretically or
insane.
supposedly they would have to break in your house to get it, but they still be hacking you. And then like yeah, man, I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, that's so crazy in my opinion, man. That's just they gotta do something about this. Now, luckily, it was a lot easier than I thought to get back into the Google account, but I was like, I know this ain't done, and then it wasn't done. My Twitter got hacked briefly, and then I immediately changed my password. Nothing happened after that, but like my Google account got my Chase card on there and just all this other personal info. Like, and this is why I go in my Chase app and disable my debit card until I need it. Cause I'm not trying to have some unknown charges just randomly pop up because my account got hacked. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
So you're at the library and you're on your. Is that the Lenovo that you got sent to review
Mm-hmm.
or whatever? The is the was the 9i or is it
Yeah.
yeah.
I was supposed to send this thing like 4 months ago, bro. I just been slacking. It was just like first it was I got sick, and I think I got sick again with COVID, or I don't know what happened. And then this, that, and the other. It was just like, but the Lenovo dude was just like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, man. Just send it whenever you can. It's just super cool about it. So now, things are straight. I'm about to record my 6A review, Fold 4, Flip 4, and this review of the laptop, and I'm gonna send it back to them this week, not weekend, week. So probably starting tomorrow.
So, when you're not recording YouTube videos, for people who don't know, what are you doing?
Well, I got another business. It's called Renovate. It's an entertainment and productivity website, mostly entertainment. News, music. We have like it's a service called Billboard, which I would say kind of think of TikTok, but not really TikTok. It's just like uh media sharing, like entertainment memes, things like that. People share pictures, videos, stuff like that. I think I said news, and yeah, it's just like an all-in-one website, so you don't have to go to multiple websites for your entertainment. And then I'm hoping to bring this into a physical brick and mortar out here at one point. But besides that, I also do a lot of DoorDash recently. If I look up DoorDash, it's probably busy right now. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty much always busy out here in the city. But it's just a good little side hustle. So if I go ahead and check on this real quick, yeah, not really busy. It's busy in the city next over and in Milwaukee and all that. But yeah, pretty much it. And then I'll meet up with some friends. We're gonna go bowling this weekend. There's a bowling alley out here. It's called GRC, and they have this thing called I can't think of what it's called, but it's basically like this glow in the dark bowling alley. It's glow in the dark. They turn it to glow in the dark, and then they have screens like where the bowling pins is, and like just the wall above it. They actually have screens up there where you can watch like TV, or you can even hop on the Xbox. So we're gonna go over there, just have some fun, just pizza and whatever. But, yeah.
Be funny if you put like a bowling game on the Xbox above your bowling.
Yeah. Or like grab the Wii. We're playing Wii bowling over here while we're actually bowling.
It'd be really
Wii
bad if
Sports.
you'd probably be better at the Wii bowling than the actual bowling. I
Yeah.
don't know. That was
I
always
bet
my
I
case.
am.
Like,
I bet I am. Or Nintendo Switch Sports. Yeah. I forgot about that actually. I bought that game when it first came out and I ain't played it ever since.
so
But
what got you into um doing tech reviews and I guess content creation type of stuff?
um so I'm gonna be honest. So it wasn't really like just one day I just woke up. I was like, yo, YouTube is it. I remember I was looking for a tutorial. I had a Galaxy Tab 2 7-inch. Yeah, as a throwback Galaxy Tab 2. And I think like if you look at my first video on the channel, it was like how to root it or something like that, or flash a ROM. I think it was putting a custom recovery on there. TWRP twerp team something, I don't know what it's called, but I couldn't find no tutorials. I'm like a visual person, and I don't really like reading through stuff. I'm a lot better visual. And I was like, there's nothing on YouTube, man. There's nothing at all on here. And I feel like people would like this. So like maybe I should try to fill that void myself. And that's where my first YouTube video came from. And I didn't think to keep going with YouTube after that. It was just like, let me just post this video real quick because nobody else did. I'm pretty sure I could be pretty helpful. Uh, and then, I put it up, and surprisingly enough, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme with every channel that I make. It was one of my most popular videos. Is my first video. And then I don't think I got consistent on YouTube or started really posting YouTube videos until like a year after that, where I had this Verizon Ellipsis 7 tablet. I think I got for free from Verizon. And then it was Droid Max videos I was posting on. And then when YouTube Red first came out, do videos like that, and just like, just went from there.
I've
And
noticed that's a
then
pretty common thing. Like people start because they're like, oh, there's no video on this, and they're
mhm.
researching and they don't find anything, or it's like somebody asked a question on a video they watched and there was no answer, and they're like, "Oh, I know the answer to that," so they just post their own, and then they kind of, like you said, it's because it's like one of your most popular. So some people they do that, and it's like, "Oh, this is kind of addictive because they're getting good views," and then it kind of
Yeah.
washes out sometimes.
That's the thing. It was like I didn't keep going because I was like, yo, there's a lot of views. I should keep doing it. It was just kind of like I don't remember what my video was after that. I think it was literally just a slideshow of pictures of my Galaxy Tab 2. Like I really like my Galaxy Tab 2. So I just posted a random slideshow of pictures off of the YouTube video editor back when that was a thing. And yeah, I was just like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of starting to like this, just putting my entertainment because like there's only really one person I know besides my brother um that's in the tech. Like I have somebody that lives right around the corner that I'm with all the time. Like we're going bowling this weekend. He's the Apple dude. He just got the iPhone 13 and he flips phones and things like that all the time. But it's not really nobody. I'm like, yo, look at this. I just got this new Pixel 7 Pro over here that's overblown on my camera or like pixel watch and things like that. And YouTube is just a cool outlet. I think that's how a lot of people is though. Like maybe you are too.
Yeah, we don't have anybody that we can really talk to it about, so our outlet is turn on the camera and the mic and talk, and then
Hmm.
whoever I guess is searching for that product, or maybe they just happened to, or they're already subscribed or whatever. I mean, that's usually a pretty small percentage, at least for me, like that's already subscribed. It's usually new people. That's
Yeah.
that's the trick to it. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed that YouTube doesn't seem to need to like necessarily get people to subscribe as much because the algorithm still recommends, like if you've watched somebody, it still recommends them to you. So there's no like, oh, you must, like the necessity to really subscribe or hit notification stuff isn't
Yeah.
necessarily an advantage. And sometimes it's worse. Like I'll get notifications for videos or I'll see videos popping up in my homepage and stuff for like random new ones, and the ones that I have the notification bells on just don't show up, and it's kind of a little bit ironic. I think all of us pretty much started out of like, we don't like it's like we don't like the way something's being done, so we're gonna make videos differently, or there was a
Hmm.
specific video that wasn't out there, or for me, it was like I was involved in the tech community, and I was noticing that there were certain questions that people were asking that weren't being answered. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a video about this, and of course, even to this day, that those videos get me like 100 views a day, and I'm just sitting back like, that's kind of crazy. Like years later, and the funny thing is like some of it's changed, and I've posted like an updated video on it, like because it changed later on. It was um adding your um how to have an Apple ID without like a credit card or debit card so you can install apps for free and stuff, because people were wondering
Hmm.
about that. Like people were asking a bunch of these videos, and I noticed there wasn't really anything that really explained it.
They're
So
like,
I
I
made
don't
a
got a
video, and
bank
to this
account.
day, like every day, I see on there's still like 100 views a day that are just added on. And
Hmm.
I've even done an updated version, and I posted like in the original, this is how to do it now because things have changed, and
Yeah.
people are still watching and commenting on the
Uh-huh.
old one. I'm
Yeah, you
like,
just
watch
pin
the
it, the
new
comment
one,
at the
people,
top.
watch the new one, like because it's changed a little bit, and it's actually easier now, and like you don't have to necessarily restart your whole account either anymore, because that was the thing back in the,
Hmm.
like you had to kind of have a new account with that stuff. It's crazy though. So you did some interesting on that, on the side of kind of crazy. You did some, I guess some people might kind of call it crazy videos where you like froze your fold. And
Yeah.
were you really nervous about that? Because here you're putting like a $1,800 phone in water and you're gonna freeze it, and Samsung doesn't have to like fix it even.
Yeah.
They could be like, nope, it's beyond
Hmm.
repair, you're gonna have to buy a new one.
Yeah,
Or they
they
don't
be
even
like,
have to, obviously they're not gonna cover like if you intentionally, you know,
break,
damage
destroy
stuff
it.
like that.
To be
But
like water damage. We can't do nothing about it. But yeah, I was nervous, bro, and I was just gonna get to that. So There was a period in my channel where I would always do liquid tests. Like it's just back to back liquid tests. I remember I froze, or I did a water shake test in a Kool Aid container I used for Kool Aid, and I put a Sony Xperia Z3 compact in there, and I just shook it up in the thing of full of water to see if it will break it or not, because it was water resistant. Even though I had a crack in it, I still did it anyway. But it was that and like all those liquid tests I got from inspiration because I used to watch this YouTuber Adrian Eisen. Um, he did like such different videos. It's like this Swedish dude. He don't really post no more, but he literally stopped posting once he got to 1 million subscribers. But it will literally just be no editing, like Flossie Carter style. He put some animations in there, but there's never no cutoff points or anything like that. He's just talking, and then he had this like quirky personality, and he was always freezing phones. I remember I think the inspiration came because like I saw a video he did a Galaxy S7 versus iPhone 6s Plus, and I remember like there is like conspiracies on like whether the 6s Plus is water resistant or not, and they just didn't say. And his video got at least 120 million views. I was like, what the F? How is that even possible? And then I just started doing that, I started having fun with it. But yeah, as you were saying for the foldables, I mean it was $2,000 at that point. And I never thought to freeze the original fold. At least I don't think I did. But yeah, I did with the fold too. And actually, I think I did with the original phone. I'm not sure, but I saw these new foldable phones and I was like, damn, got water resistance. It's the new thing, the new wave and all that. And yeah, I was like, bless you. And like
Thanks. I was
yeah,
like trying not to sneeze right in it. I was like, and I
uh-huh.
can't get my mute button fast enough.
ASMR sneezing. No, but yeah, I remember that and like I was nervous, man. The fold 2, like there was a lot of excitement in that video, but there was a lot of nervousness too. I'm just like, please just kind of watch the video, kind of give me some views because this is gonna hurt my wallet, which it did because YouTube screwed me over. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it
Yeah, I
was like
remember.
a
And then you
video
got like
processing issue.
monetized, like, and then you had like some weird stuff with the monetization too, where like
Now
there
the
was some weird stuff
monetization,
going on with some people around that time too. I think you were a little nervous, like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this, and then it's gonna." Oh yeah, and the processing because it's
yeah,
like I
the
gotta get this
monetization was
out here, and
cool.
I gotta get this video out here because like the device is somewhat still like relevant and being talked about,
Hmm.
and it's a crazy thing, and like you don't want it all of a sudden being like everybody else is talking about the device because you were in like that gap between, if I remember correctly, it was like the people that got it really early and then the people that were like buying it and getting it and gonna start doing stuff, you did that video like pretty quick after it came out. So it's like you don't want to get like in that time
Yeah,
period where a
where it's
floodgate
just
of other videos are gonna be. And I remember thinking, is he actually gonna do this? And then when you put it in the freezer and like you took it out, I was like, yep, he actually did this. It wasn't like a joke, like my like my full froze, like sort of
uh-huh.
joke. It was nope, he did it. And then
Hmm.
when he took it out, and I was like, it's crazy, it's still working, kind of. Like I was like,
Yeah.
that's insane. Like
I even thought about it myself. I'm like, am I actually gonna do this? Am I actually this crazy? I was like, yeah, it's crazy. Let me go and grab a container from Family Dollar real quick and throw it in here. And then I did. It was just like when I actually first poured the water on there, it felt so surreal. And then it was still working after the water test. I was like, if we're going all the way, man, we're throwing it in the freezer for 24 hours. We're gonna see if it breaks or not. And then the screen's fragile, so the water expands, and I was worried it was going to break the screen, which it didn't, and it survived somewhat. Like it didn't work initially, but like I think it was like my 24 hours later, 48 hours later video where I plugged it in for the first time. I didn't even see it myself, but I plugged it in front of the camera and like in front of myself for the first time, and it actually turned on. I was like, man. And then like you remember you had the video processing issues. The monetization was fine, but it was like it. It never happened to me before, and it never happened after that. Where um, I posted the video and it had a processing issue at 4K. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it was just wasn't watchable, and I had to contact YouTube support, and then they was taking too long, so I reposted it, and then eventually they fixed it. So I had to take that down, put the original back up, and I listed the re-upload, and it was just like a whole mess. And then I never got those. The views were skyrocketed, man. Everybody was hyping it up. The views are skyrocketing. I bet it could have had like at least 500,000 views if it wasn't for that. But then YouTube came in and pulled a YouTube. So yeah, that hurt a lot. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I was like the first YouTuber to do a water test on a foldable. That's got to be something, right? And then there was a freeze test on top of that to really test the durability because everybody's worried about foldable durability. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many views it's at now, but I remember I got posted on a few articles like some Android um websites and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
let's see. 45,000 is what it says right now.
Oh, really? Hmm. Yeah.
For the one, and then your Coca-Cola one, that was interesting for the Fold 3 and Flip 3.
I did a. Oh yeah, I did. See, I don't even remember that. That's crazy. I remember I did like a um uh what's the orange soda called?
Oh, like
Sunkist or
fun.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that with the S20 FE because I had an orange S20 FE, so I was like, I might as well get orange soda. I'm freeze it with my S20 FE.
I
Yeah.
well, the excitement of like, and you don't know what's gonna happen, and then like you're naturally reacting in front of the camera, and you haven't like looked at it yet, so you don't know if it's gonna turn on. You don't know if it like did that like blow up the battery? Did it like crack the
Mhm.
screen? Did it like it separate at the hinge? All sorts of things. And then it wasn't even at that time. It wasn't even like the newer glass stuff that they're using. So like there's I mean it wasn't like the original fold where it was
Yeah.
bound to it, but you still have that area in the middle. Water gets in and it expands out. It's gonna and if the device is open versus closed, you have all sorts of different things with it. And I don't know, that was nuts to me. I was like, this dude just like and then when you did
Yeah.
the Coca-Cola one, and I was thinking, man, that's like what, 3,500, like close to like $4,000 worth of tech, because at the
Yeah.
time that the you know the the flip, I mean,
Well, the
um
Flip and Flip 5G was like 1,400, and then after that it came to 1,000, and then the
mhm.
Fold 3 is at 1,800.
Throw your taxes in there though, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Yep.
this is
State
crazy,
sales
but
tax. Some of the highest state sales tax in the US on top of that. It's not Illinois, but yeah, it's crazy. That was something else. Oh yeah, look, Shark Fin said right here, Tech Timbers. I watch his videos too. He get a lot of views off of that stuff, bro. I think I watch a lot of his videos too. But Adrian Nyson, I think he started this whole thing. He's responsible for all of this. But if you look back at my channel, like I'm trying to look through my playlist right now, my liquid test, I got a whole playlist called Liquid Tests, and it goes back all the way to the Z3 Compact and the S5 and all that. My first video was, let's see, it was in 2016. Yep, 2016. I remember I froze phones. I froze a Samsung flash drive because why not? And just other random things like that. Back when I had my squeaky voice on YouTube, and everybody kept criticizing me, thinking I was a literal girl. Like I remember I would call customer service, and they call me ma'am. Yeah,
the
but that's
uh
getting off topic.
the craziness to me though is like the entertainment value of that, but also just like the whole like what would happen if I like I don't know, my phone fell out of my pocket and it's like the winter and I don't find it right away. Is the thing gonna survive? Or do I panic? Do I like
Hmm.
do the whole search for it? Do I, you know, and it's good to know that for the most part, unless you're I don't know, it should be okay. And I think the slow freeze on it too helps versus like if it's I don't know, if it was like an more rapid freeze, it probably would blow up
Like
pretty good.
like dry ice.
Yeah, something like that would just, well, not only that, but like the actual chip itself would probably just explode. It's like when you see these CPU tests where they use dry ice, and if it gets too cold too quick, they actually have to like heat up the CPU at a certain rate, or it can
Hmm.
blow out from the inside. So I saw that you recently got, well, you have, you know, well, you had, I was gonna say you had two unopened original folds, and you opened one of them, and you did a YouTube short showing that.
Hmm.
So, do you still use your original? I know for the longest time you were like rocking, like you're like, I don't care. There's like two more generations out. I'm still rocking the original. Do you still rock the original, or are you using the four? I mean, I saw you
uh,
had held up the back, but from the back, it's yeah.
yeah, I'm using this right now, but I'm going right back to my original fold. Like literally after this, I was gonna do some running around, probably go to Lowe's and stuff like that. But I was gonna go home and I was gonna grab my Fold 4 and I was gonna transfer my stuff back to the the original Fold because I sent it in for repair because I had this weird issue where I was recording videos on it and one side of the microphone, if you listen to a video, the one side of your headphones or if I'm doing live, I'm on the live stream. So for y'all, it'll be this side. Uh, and then I was using it. It was just like the microphone wasn't working for some reason. And then they end up replacing the whole phone, which I was like, okay, because I sent it to them. They sent it back. It still had the same issue. So I sent it again. And then it was like, we're just going to give you a new phone, which I was surprised, man. I was like, the reason I kept that original box is because I was like, there's no way you're going to find brand new folds anymore. You can't even find on eBay. Best Buy don't sell them no more. So that's why I kept it. And then they were just like, here, have another one. I was like, okay, cool. I thought about keeping that too and just getting one on eBay, get and like buying a broken fold on eBay and having Samsung fix that. Just so you know it's cheaper and I don't have to buy a used fold or something like that. But
I'm
yeah, I was
surprised
gonna
they
do
still
that.
had like original ones in the warehouse somewhere,
That's what I
because like
was
you would think they
saying.
would be gone.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I thought it'd be gone for sure. Because they have like their, you know, their original units that their regular units that they sell to the public, and then they got their units that, you know, they use for RMAs. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, how many how many CFOs do they actually have back there? It's got to be a lot. But I
I,
don't know,
I
man, because the folds are they're pretty fragile. But
well,
yeah, I'm going back to it.
wasn't the and with the original fold, they were like I thought weren't they making those to order too? Like it wasn't
Um,
like I
no,
didn't
they.
think they did like
I
they did
remember.
well they did the pre-order, but then I was thinking that a lot of it like some of the stuff slowed down a little bit because they were like we don't want to have too many of these like
Yeah, I remember they made 800,000 of them at one point, and then I don't remember what happened after that. I don't remember what time period that was. I just remember they made 800,000 of them. They,
probably
I
have
think they
like
sold 1,000,000.
300,000 of them just sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
Uh
They're
huh.
like this is for Latrell in case he breaks
Mm-hmm.
another one.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
You
else
know,
is
they
allowed to touch these.
just in case I freeze one,
That was
just sitting in a
I,
Texas warehouse.
one of the things I don't know. One of the things I appreciated about the original Fold, and I kind of like feel like they could have kept and done like an updated version. And I don't know how you think about it. Like obviously that front cover, I I kind of feel like yeah it was small, but also for the fact that like the way it was positioned, you could reach the whole screen with one hand was somewhat nice. But
Yeah.
obviously if you're trying to type on it and do some stuff, it's a little. But the inner screen, I feel like that like corner notch. because it was out of the way of video. So like, when they went
Mm-hmm.
to the hole punch, then you have like that's one thing that I have a problem with my Vivo is the hole punch. That's always in your video, no matter unless you're holding it where like the speakers at the top and the bottom. That original Fold with the notch, and then like the cameras on it were pretty decent. Like you're actually able to have decent cameras in there because it's not under the display. And so I kind of feel like I wish they would bring like an updated version of that back. Just do like a or like do the hole punch more towards the corner. Like the was it the
Yeah.
S10e had the hole punch that was kind of
Yeah. Yeah. It was the
why they
E.
don't
Remember,
just
it
do
was in the
that on
top
their
right.
it wouldn't be in the way of anything then because when you're watching video I mean unless it's like a game that's full screen but even then like it's not like the area where the camera is you can actually use because there's still no screen there. um
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I feel like
Even
that was like something I missed because I had the original Fold and
yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Mm-hmm. And then like, yeah, I don't like how it's. Hold on. I don't like how it's in the middle these days, man. Because like you said, it's the S10e and the S10. Well, all the S10s had it, but the E and the S10s just had the one camera. The Plus had it. Even the S10 5G, it had that wide hole punch, super wide hole punch for like the 3D depth sensing camera and all that. And then eventually got 3D face unlock. That was even in the corner. And I still use that for my videos. That's how I like it the most. And I'm trying to figure out on my Lenovo settings how to turn this off. I don't know how to do it, but yeah, that's how I always liked it. I don't really now that it's under display, it's not that bad anymore in my opinion. Oh look, it's busy, but like I'm trying to
yeah it's not as
figure out.
noticeable.
Yeah, it's not.
Obviously for anybody who wants to use that inner display to like do much, the
Yeah,
only
you can't.
disadvantage you have is the quality isn't. I
Oh
mean, it'd be
yeah.
okay maybe for like
Oh,
a quick Zoom call, but even then, it's like,
I I hate doing Google Meets on it. I have to close my phone so I look somewhat decent.
oh
I
yeah,
hate
Motorola.
doing.
I forgot their G100 has the corner hole punch too, and like Pixel, yeah, they did that with the four, and then the five, because I had the Pixel 5, also
Oh
had the
yeah,
corner,
yeah. I
the
forgot.
corner. I wonder, I wonder if it's because the camera modules on the back are getting bigger and bigger, like the sensors and like internally, if they had to move it because otherwise like, if you think about like where the camera lens is on the back of like even my iPhone, if you had a camera cut out in the corner, it'd have to be like opposite corner or the module like they'd get in the way of each other. So I don't know if like that's something that's changed, because if you look at like even the original Fold versus like the angle that the camera was at, like the direction that they were facing and like the thickness of the lens was different than the newer. So they probably had to move stuff internally and like for battery
Hmm.
placement and stuff. But man, I don't know. There's something about like sometimes I thought about like going and doing like finding like an OG Fold like on and then hoping that it's not completely wrecked. And seeing and if it is, seeing if Samsung would fix it or whatever. But like
They probably just
just because
replace it.
I don't know, there's something about that. And even like I said, like I don't know, maybe because I mean, I have long fingers, but I don't have like sausage thumbs or anything. Maybe that's what never bothered me on the original was kind of because it was right in the middle. So when you grab the phone from the side, um,
I remember,
like and
that was
like
one of their
you could
marketing
grab it right
terms,
from the
right?
side, and everything was like
That was
positioned right.
that
Now
was
you got like the tall, so you're kind of from the
uh-huh.
bottom to the top is
You gotta
kind of.
do your finger gymnastics to get to the top. But that's
Although
that
do
we
I do have to say the side fingerprint scanner, the whole where you can swipe down, it brings down your notifications, is one of my
oh yeah.
favorite things about, not having the under display.
I turned that off
Um,
a while ago. Bro, I don't like it because I just keep accidentally doing it. Now it's cool for fidgeting, but besides that, and then yeah, I don't know if you remember that was one of the marketing points of the Fold. They was like, oh yeah, the screen is small, but wait. You can actually use it with one hand though. That's really what they was getting at. But they was like, you might as well throw that out there to kind of make it seem good. Which I mean, it do work. I love using that thing one handed for actual. I don't like small screens, but I mean, I could just unfold it whenever I want to. So for the original fold, it don't really matter to me like that. It is cool to be able to actually type on this kind of normally, but I don't like doing my finger gymnastics. Just bring it down, shuffle it down the phone. All right, let me shuffle this back up real quick, type thing. And then they have their little software things where you can do the. I don't even know if I have it enabled to, like bring down the screen, kind of like you do on the iPhone, like
Oh
where I
yeah, the
just
whole where you can.
yeah. But who use? I don't use that. I don't know anybody that does use that. I remember I
I
did
only
when
use
iPhones
that.
got bigger, the six.
I only use that with some of the applications that like the back gesture isn't there, and you gotta still click the little back arrow in the upper left
Uh,
corner, especially
yeah.
on the iPhone where some of the developers haven't implement it, and
That's
even Apple themselves haven't. Like in the settings,
mm-hmm.
sometimes you still have to. So it's like reachability, click,
Yeah.
but I don't get
I'm
that.
I,
Like they need to just gestures for everything. If you have gestures and there's no buttons on your device, then every app should. I know originally the problem was and even like the Google Play Store had that. You remember where it was like, because some of the menu stuff was on the left-hand side. When you go to swipe in, it would bring in like that hamburger menu that had like
mm-hmm.
games and all that listed versus trying to go back. And then
Yeah.
I think that's well, and then that's when they implemented where you could do it on the right or the left, so that way it didn't interfere with that stuff. But the
Yeah.
I don't know. And the other thing was because it was in the middle like that, when you brought up content, it basically took up that whole screen. So like because like right now if you bring up like a 16 by 9 video on the Fold 4, it's going to just take up the middle of the screen anyways. I don't know, and like the cameras just weren't in the screen, so it wasn't. I don't know, there was some greatness
Yeah.
like great stuff about it, but of course then people complain and they want like a screen that can be mostly usable on the outer side without having to open the thing up, which I understand like scrolling through Twitter and stuff is really
Yeah.
nice. Um
I use swipe all the time, so I don't really type on it that much. It don't really bother me.
I
Swipe is
swear
easy on there.
I don't know, like you've had the like you've had the Pixel 7 Pro and for
It's kind of look like a
and
galaxy. I just want to say real quick, like at least from the front view, this kind of look like a galaxy, kind of galaxy to me, in my opinion. Like, am
even
I
like when
going
you
crazy?
if you could like even the white back reminds me of when they did the ceramic or like the really nice white, and then if you were to take the hole cut out and like kind of make it flush, that's like that reminds me of like LG G6 days and like
Uh,
um
oh
was it S10 and then
yeah.
S10, was it the
Mm-hmm.
S9 or S8, like when they
No,
had the cameras the other way and they were kind of embedded too. That reminds me of it's like a blend in those days. I don't
mm-hmm.
know
That was S9, I think.
when they all decided to shift direction of the cameras from like it was weird because everything used to be that way and now everything's vertical and then some have gone back to horizontal and it's back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like LG was one of the first ones to kind of do it that direction. Apple, like, iPhone was, you know, like the 6, 7, and 8 were all the single, but like the plus side were all that way. And then when the 10 launched, they shifted
Yeah.
to vertical, and then every
It-
other company
Wait,
shifted to
you
vertical
know
too.
what? And I remember everybody was like, "Oh, now it looks like an Android. Now that they switched the camera, I don't like this." When they released the X, made the cameras look vertical. They're like, "Oh, my phone look like an Android now." Apple, get rid of this
And
immediately.
and then it was the same year then like the Note 8 and like the S8s and stuff launched, and they all switched everything to going that direction too because things used to be kind of
Mm-hmm.
horizontal.
Can't
Um,
make up their mind.
so wow, okay. Um, I guess my next question for you would be: is there a piece of tech like set to come out this year that you're looking forward to? Or are you kind of like set for the rest of the? I mean, I guess we technically only have like a couple months left in the year, but
It was already announced. The new Surface Pro. That's what I want. That's what I want. Man, that's gonna be dope. I just hate Microsoft for getting rid of the Surface Book because that Surface Studio laptop, whatever they call it, is garbage. I used it and I do not like it. It's nowhere near as good or practical as a Surface Book, where you literally have a laptop. You press a button and you detach the screen. You know how dope that is? And then you just look at this Surface Studio laptop crap, and I'm like, what is this? This is like the Walmart version of what I used to use. So now I gotta buy the older Surface books because they don't make them no more. But yeah, the Surface Pro, like I bought an 8, and man, I never had a Surface Pro before, but I had the Surface Book too. Surface Pro is nice. I didn't expect that, and I could actually edit videos on there. I didn't expect that either.
Yeah, they went from yeah, because there was that detachable, and they had the like crazy hinge that they developed. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the
Like that
problem was
spine hinge.
when you detached it, that people were mad because you only got like what 2 or 3 hours of battery life.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that
yeah, when you
sucks.
detached it, and like a lot of the battery then, and then you had like the separate battery in the keyboard part, which gave it more. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody wanted to use it as a tablet, it kind of. And then they had the regular Surface, so people are like, "Well, I'll just buy the regular Surface that gets good battery life and snap a keyboard on it." But then
And
you
it's
didn't
just
have
not the
even the same
same.
thing. Like it wasn't like a normal
Yeah,
laptop where it holds up on its own.
I can't even put it on my
And then they
lap.
came up with like the Surface laptop, and now they have what's the laptop Go as like the, you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like the HP
Uh,
Stream version of the
the
kind
the
of their
the school laptops basically.
man that it does. And I've noticed that I remember. I think it was it last year's Surface laptop or the year before. I remember like I went in anytime I go into Best Buy, there was always somebody returning that because they were mad because it was like it only had the Surface um magnet charger and then like one
uh,
USB-C port, and it was when they
yeah.
had because the previous models at least had a full-on regular USB port, so the guy was like, I can't even just hook up to a printer without buying this adapter, and you got to
Uh-huh.
make sure it's the right one. And I want to hook up my
But,
camera, and I got to buy an adapter
but
that has multiple ports, and I want to hook up like. So he was like, so I got to carry one around that has like 6 USB ports,
hey,
even
fuck
when
when
I
it.
only need something for one. And if I want to connect to Ethernet, I just remember because they went from like having all these ports and like having the SD card slot and having like the at least this regular USB port to it was kind of it was kind of like the MacBook, the 12-inch MacBook that had the single port. And then people were mad because it was like, oh, and that was the year that I think Microsoft decided that they weren't gonna support like you had to use their adapter. The the USB
Yeah.
port didn't support charging like a Thunderbolt port did, and then the next
Mm-hmm.
model, yeah, so it was like a couple of years ago, and it's good to see them now. You can just like I could connect that thing up to my monitor, and it would provide charge because my monitor has USB-C for video and charge and all that, or like you can use your phone charger, charge your Surface. You know, what was really funny to me was to see all the people that never talk about the Surface Duo mentioning how well it works with the Surface, the new like Surface Studio and the new Surface
Mm-hmm.
Book and stuff, but they've never even reviewed the product. I don't know. That just seems a little iffy to me. How do you feel about that?
But
Like, really, literally, seeing I
yeah,
Justine talk about, it, I was like, man, you didn't even talk about the device, and now you're like, it works great with it.
yeah. Uh-huh. I think they just throwing it out there just to throw it out there. I want to talk about that Surface charger real quick though. You know what? The Surface charger is probably one of my favorite chargers, and I think one of the reasons is because of the actual power supply in it. It got that USB port in it in the Surface charger. Man, that's so nice, bro. Just to have an extra USB port that I could just plug into my Surface charger. Like I had my watch charger when I had my Surface Pro, and I would just plug it into the Surface charger, and I was like, yo, this is it right here. Don't gotta take up any more, no plugging any more adapters in my power strip, which I'm already ran out of room next to my bed. I have literally 6 chargers next to my bed. I can just plug in all 6 of my phones, and then I got more, so I'll throw it on my wireless charger, and I have to wait for those to charge so I can plug in my other phones. But yeah, that and it's just like the fact, like the actual like Surface charger itself, because it's basically MagSafe.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And then you can still plug it into a USB port, a USB-C port. So I'm a fan of that. But I do remember when they forced it on you. I was like, yeah, this is stupid. I'm gonna just get a Galaxy book, and then
The one
now
thing that
I
I've
got it.
the one thing that I've appreciated about like the Surface tablet is that they've always been kind of, even kind of from the beginning, about like this is, well, with the exception of the RT model, which was just kind of a eh. But they've always been
Mm-hmm.
kind of from the beginning. It was always like this is a laptop and you can detach the keyboard and it can become a tablet. It where like Samsung with their, it's like this is a tablet and you can connect a keyboard and it's kind of,
Kind
but
of.
not
Yeah.
really. It's kind of like a half worked. That's the one thing
It's
I've always appreciated. It's like this works great as a laptop for doing all this stuff, and we've put decent performance in there. And if you want to like disconnect the keyboard and use it as a
mm-hmm.
tablet for like media consumption to draw on some of that, like they've
Again
been
though.
fully invested in making sure people realize that's what it is and not the opposite of like we're
Yeah.
going to make something that's a great tablet, but then when you try to, it's got some different user interface. And that's I think the thing with, I don't know, I wish Samsung would make a Dex book. That would be awesome, where it's like a laptop that
Yeah.
actually runs there and then developers could develop for it and you could have like
That
Dex development software dedicated on it. And I
that's
don't
why I
know,
have a
how do you
Next
feel
Dock.
about that?
That's why I have a Next Dock 360. I use that, but the thing about the Galaxy Tab is it's a nice tablet, not so nice laptop, but the Surface Pro is a nice laptop, not so nice tablet. Because you know how Windows is. You know
Oh
how
yeah.
Windows is. Even when you like open up Chrome, it's basically the same thing, but the buttons are spaced out. Like whoop de doo, thanks, appreciate that. And then like even YouTube is, yeah, it's a mess to use on Windows. But I just like having a full OS and a tablet. That's so like futuristic and dope to me, in my opinion. Like, look at this. I got Windows and a tablet. How's that possible? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they remember like there used to be Linux on Dex before they discontinued that because they said it was just cost them too many resources. They couldn't keep up with it. There wasn't no there was no return on it. And like they wasn't gonna be able to uh keep up with the cost of what it took to run Linux on there. It ran pretty good though, I'm not gonna lie. I remember it was like I think they discontinued it. Like the last tablet could use it on was the Tab S6, I think, or maybe it was
Yeah, they
the
were.
Tab S4. No, it's the Tab S4. I think that was the last tablet you used it on, which I still got. So yeah, I mean, I remember that. I remember those days. That's pretty cool. I remember opening up the terminal. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I got the Linux terminal on my Tab S4.
Do
Just
you
geeking out.
think, you know, companies, they all do. They all do it for the most part. Some companies more than others. We won't necessarily name, but like they come out with a product or a software and they kill it. Google has their whole graveyard. Um,
Killed
but
by
like, do you think
Google.com.
so? When Samsung announced Dex, it was like, oh, this is supposed to be able to do 4K 60 and all this stuff, and you're supposed to be able to in this dock, and then it never really got up that far. And now we're seeing like newer devices being able to support like 1440p output, like the tabs. Actually, the Fold. I think the Fold. I don't think the original Fold, but my Fold 2 I know would actually did 1440p after an update. Would if I connected it up to my monitor, was like one of the first ones to do it. And obviously then there's the tablets and stuff, and I'd probably because the Fold is treated like a tablet. Do you think that Samsung is just gonna kill off Dex eventually, or like because isn't, I don't know that they've done a lot of new development other than like you can do it wirelessly now, and the fact that like they killed it off for for Mac. I get there probably wasn't enough people using it, but like to just like not allow it to work, and basically I
Mhm.
connect it up and it's like nope, it doesn't even work anymore even if I have like the old version of the software. Do you think that, because what I would like to see them do is I would like to see where Dex, operates on the device but also externally. Kind of one of the things that like well, until Apple removed it with Stage Manager that I liked is like you had the same UI on the iPad as you had on your external monitor. there's the whole like obviously you can bring your mouse over to the tablet, but then you have a tablet UI versus like the deck. Do you think they'll ever do that, or do you think that they're just gonna be like people aren't like there's no motivation because of it's mostly like the extreme tech nerds that use it? Like, what do they need to
Yeah.
do to get pushed? Is there some push that needs to happen, or do you think they'll just get rid of it or change to something, some other completely different thing?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. Like, I feel like the only way people are going to use Dex is if they push enough on a Galaxy tab. I don't see nobody taking their phone, plug it into a monitor. Like, how many people even have just a random spare monitor around? Like, yeah, let me plug this in real quick, whoop de whoop, or even a TV. Like, I have a Samsung Smart TV, and you can cast it through, wireless decks with what's it called, Smart View. You could do that, but who's doing that? Nobody's gonna do that. I feel like the only way people are gonna do this with like built-in decks on a Galaxy tab. Like that was the best thing they could ever did on the Tab S4, in my opinion. So I don't know. Samsung just don't have the same tendencies to kill off stuff like Google does. Like imagine if Google made it and they was in the same spot. They would have killed it like 3 years ago at least. I mean, if we being honest right now.
Google
Um,
didn't even start like that's the funny thing to me. Like it's a native thing in Android since Android 10 kind of started it, but Android 11 I like officially the whole desktop mode.
it's
But
it's like a
Google's like,
developer
nah,
mode
we're not
thing.
even gonna support like a
Hmm.
desktop mode, and we won't even support video out over the
Yeah.
port, even though it's like using. I mean, it's using a new enough USB to be able to do that. That's I don't know.
They killed it off
Yeah,
before it even
Samsung doesn't
started.
kill off like anything really,
Yeah,
for the most
they know
part,
they have resources to burn through, and they
other
just burn
than
through it.
like micro SD. But that's like that's
Yeah,
even I
but
think that's part of a like a. I noticed when I had my Note 8 and I put a micro SD card slot in, it slowed down the whole thing because it's like the internal tries to adapt so that you don't have
hmm,
a negative effect.
yeah,
So
so
I
you
think
don't
that's why,
notice the
because like
difference.
newer, even like the super fast micro SD cards only get like a couple hundred megabytes per second, and the internal is like thousands, like
Yeah, you're not gonna
5,000,
keep
six
up.
thousand, 7,000, like
Hmm.
way faster. Can't keep. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting like because you're someone that I know you use the different Samsung devices, and I know you talked like I don't know. What's funny to me is when I'm at my parents and they have a Samsung TV and I go to Crash Dex and it goes, this device is not optimized for Dex. Please try to, and it works perfectly fine, but they're like
Hmm.
trying to tell me it shouldn't like, nice try, Samsung. You want to sell me a new TV and I don't need it.
Uh-huh.
Or
Yeah,
the new
it does that.
monitors and,
It does that with my LG TV. My Samsung doesn't. It's probably because I got a 2022 Neo QLED. It's like the latest QLED
yeah,
TV out.
the
So,
newer
but
stuff.
even the 2016, working no issues on it. So I don't know, but I mean, they might discontinue it, but it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while, man. So you could even like, I bet if you go to the Galaxy store, there's probably apps on there where they haven't even updated the app icon in I don't know how long, and they still just don't want to discontinue it. Like it took them I don't know how long to discontinue. What's it called? Garage. It wasn't Garage. It's like their alternative of Garage Band. Something Camp. I don't remember. I used to make beats on there on my original Galaxy Tab S. But yeah, nobody used that. But I was like the only one using it. They had it for a while. But I know like at least for apps and just software and things like that, they have a hard time discontinuing stuff. But
And the
and then
funny
if it's
thing
an
to me
app,
is like you'll have like there's the Galaxy Store version of like TikTok and Facebook and stuff.
hmm,
And what really is funny to me is I'll go in there and I'll go to do an update in the Play Store and forget that like my last update I did to the app was in the Galaxy Store, and so the Play Store, even though there's a newer version, like it won't work because there must be something slightly different that same. So I go over to the Galaxy Store, do
yeah.
the update, or I just delete it and reinstall. Be like, I don't want to have AS apps in two different places. Yeah, it is kind of interesting there. I do think though, and I don't know if you'd agree with. I've noticed that Samsung, because there was the where they had like pro mode for photos and videos, and then they removed it and they brought it back. They said they have been pretty solid about not doing that with stuff, and I think people got really mad at like you removed this, and this was like one of the features we really liked, and it was gone
Mm-hmm.
for like a good solid year, and then they brought it back with new hardware. I think that that's one of the things that, and developers were probably really mad too because they're like, oh, we're just getting this software done, and we're updating our apps, and like,
Mm-hmm.
or like social media apps, and you remove this function. Because one thing I feel like, you know, obviously Apple's done this for a few years with like their phones and like Google doing with the Pixel, and I kind of wish Samsung would do with some of their, and they're starting to do like really the S20, the S21, the S22, and it appears the S23 are going to be somewhat similar in a lot of their like um as far as like cameras and some of the stuff that for developers, like if you're changing every year, just by the time they updated their software, you got new hardware coming out. You got like now they got to restructure the hardware all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's one thing I've noticed. They've been pretty solid at keeping some of the stuff in place. But I
Yeah, I
guess
mean that's especially for their ecosystem. Like I remember somebody mentioned it on Twitter. I think it was RJ Tech. Google they got a nice ecosystem coming, man, but I just don't know if I could trust how much they kill off services. That's one thing about Samsung is like I know if I'm using a service, it's not gonna it's not gonna be discontinued a year later. It's probably gonna take like 5 years before they discontinue it.
they might change names of it, like the quick share thing
Mm-hmm.
that's all that it existed, you know, and you know they brought it into the panel and they made it known and they kind of changed the name, but
Yeah.
it's always been there and
It's
like
always been like
oh man, that
discovery
reminds
on
me
a
though.
device.
You remember the back tap where you just take your phone, like tap it to the back of somebody's to like
Oh
share your
yeah, the
stuff?
Android Beam.
Android Beam, like man, that stuff. I wish that that would come back like that, but I think there was just some
Yeah.
privacy and security concerns.
That was also an Android thing too. And I remember Samsung, of course, Samsung. They made their own version of it back in the S4 and S5 days called S Beam. I don't remember what was
I
different about
remember
it, but it
that
was yeah.
they have their own
Everything had an
protocols
S
for
on it, like
stuff
S Health,
in
S Beam, S this, S that.
S Pen. They even
Mm-hmm.
had the S Tab Pro that was their Windows
Mm-hmm.
tablet. It was like a
Tab
12 inch. I had that thing.
Tab Pro S. I think that's what it
Yeah,
was called. Galaxy Tab
yeah.
Pro S.
The Tab
Yeah, I
Pro
remember it.
S, like 12.3 inch or whatever was like the full name.
Yeah,
But
Galaxy Tab Pro S 12, 120 gig Wi-Fi tablet. It had Windows 10 on it.
mhm. I had the
Galaxy
S Tab.
Tab, it's weird. It's the name is weird. So it's Galaxy Tab Pro S, but the Tab and the Pro is like merged into one name. So it's Galaxy Tab Pro S. That's I know Samsung likes to do that. Like the Note series, they always put the number right next to the Note name, like Note 9, and then you got Z Fold 4, Fold, and the number 4 is right next to each other. I don't know why they do that, but
Well, all
most people will
company.
ignore it, I think.
It's like MacBook. People always capitalize it, but if you look at Mac is actually lowercase and book is uppercase
Mm-hmm.
for the longest time, and now they just kind of gave up and they made it as like capital M and capital
It's just
B.
a it's
It's
just a
like, but originally,
MacBook.
well, in Mac OS, that's why, because like Mac OS, it was lowercase Mac and then uppercase OS.
Yeah,
It's funny how
operating
they all
system
do that.
because it stands for something. The
Yeah,
OS, O and S stands for something.
because Mac isn't like a, it's not like a person's name or an official, so it was supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
lowercase. It was just like a device line. Same thing with like you know, and then iPad, iPhone originally, and then you know the P wasn't like meant to be capitalized with iPhone and iPad, and then they just kind of capitalized after the I to
Mm-hmm.
distinguish
Kind of,
them.
yeah.
And same like iPod.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, you know, that was a, especially when you had iPhone OS, then it was iPhone and then OS was kept the same thing. All these
Mm-hmm.
companies have changed
AirPlay.
stuff.
Yeah.
MacBooks
AirDrop.
are now the change I saw. They're actually calling them laptops now, like on Apple's website instead of calling them like instead of referring to them as um what was the term they
Really?
were using? Like instead of referring them under like a book line, they changed their wording. I was
I
like, but
just
it's
see
called a MacBook. It's not
I see
called
it on the
a
I see it on the
Mac
website right now. I see store Mac, and then when I click on Mac, I see MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and all that.
Yeah, let's see. What's the
Which Mac is right for you? Notebook, desktop.
Yeah, they used to call they're changing with some of the where it was notebook, to
Hmm.
changing to calling them laptops in some of the areas. And it makes sense because I guess it's like I got an iPad is probably more in line with like a physical
Mm-hmm.
notebook. But well, anyways, Latrell, it's been about an hour. We started late, so I let us overflow a little late. Thank you for coming on and talking with us and chatting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
In the
cool, man. I
library,
appreciate
nobody
it.
came by and was like, shh.
Yeah, I hear paper
Nobody in there
I hear
weird look.
people cutting paper in the background and things like that. And then there's usually like because there's a middle school right down the street, so the whole middle school just floods the library. It's just loud and just running around. Yeah, that's great. It's always great to hear them coming in, and
Did
then
you
they have
bring
to
your own
yell at them.
microphone or is that something that was there?
Yeah,
That's why I meant to ask.
this, yeah, yeah. I mean, they have their. You know what the funny thing is? They have a Yeti too. I could grab. It's just a regular Yeti, but if I wanted to, I could borrow their Yeti that they have with their Macs and all that. They got some nice Sennheiser headphones. They got the Yeti microphone. They have a piano you can use in GarageBand. All that stuff. Like they got it hooked up in here, man. That and even you know what the craziest part is? You could I was gonna say you could look on my Instagram, but it got hacked. You can't look at it right now. Thanks, Instagram. But they have a recording room where they have like professional cameras. They have at least like 4 cameras in there, bro, with a green screen and all that. Like I gotta show you, but it's so dope. It's
That
so
is
dope.
crazy. You could go in there and like
Just
you
thousands of
record your
dollars of cameras.
tracks with the piano and the keyboard, and then go and like do your music video in the green screen.
Uh-huh.
Do it like right out the library.
Do a
Can you
Doja
imagine
Cat music video. Oh man, that would be
just
funny.
in the middle of your every couple bars in the middle of your video, you just have like some librarian that's like,
Hmm. Joe, close the door real quick. We about to get lit up in here. Oh man, yeah, that's cool, man. They got big old tripods. This professional lighting. Anybody could use it.
that's
That's
crazy.
where them taxpayer dollars are coming, I guess, coming from, going into, I should say. Which I'm happy with it, especially the editing software and all that. This is like one of the best libraries in my city. It's one of the best libraries you can find in the area because of how many resources they got. And then, of course, you know, they got regular Windows computers and things like that you can sign into, but nobody cares about that. But yeah, man, even gigabit internet, I think they got pretty cool. So next time we're on a call, you know where I'm going to be at. Hopefully, I can
Yeah.
figure this out.
It's pretty incredible for people watching. He's using a Lenovo 9i laptop, and it's just a built-in webcam, and it has like this auto tracking. Kind of reminds me of like Center Stage sort of thing going on, or like Nvidia has their tracking,
You know what? It's surprisingly good, man. It's
or
like
that
it's really good. I wasn't expecting that.
that the webcam that everybody's doing their videos on that has there where you could hold up like the L and it tracks it on your face. You know the
Oh,
uh
oh,
I can't, but yeah, they're doing a pretty solid job. I mean, for doing a live stream,
it's
I don't think you
it's
need.
it's keeping up really good. You know what the funny thing is? I bought my Brio webcam here, my Logitech Brio, and I didn't even end up needing it because it looks good enough. It looks
I
way better
mean,
than I thought.
my stream's 1080p, so even if your
Yeah.
footage was 720p, that's gonna be probably more than the size of the space of the frame that is. It's probably like a 360p or 480p frame. So,
Now,
um,
yeah, I was gonna say
thanks to
I don't know.
everybody. Oh yeah, the Insta 360 is one of them too. But
Yeah.
thanks to everybody in the chat who came on by. Thanks to everybody in Replay Crew. If you're new, subscribe. If you'd like this, hit the thumbs up. If you don't know who Latrell is, his stuff is down in it will be in the description.
Also here.
And thanks for everybody stopping on by for Behind the Minds episode 7. Peace out, everybody. Thanks